scratch that.
You don't want to mention that around me.
Yes, I that's Katie's character outside of. I was trying to remember. Sorry.
All good. It's been a while, so I'll chime in with any information that your character would know if you're like having trouble remembering. So.
Yes. We did start a business deal sort of with them, and we are working with.
Yes, I've heard, and you've done quite exceptional work so far. I must say, being the crew that you are and what you do, you've put in quite a lot of work, and I thank you for that in advance because it's making my line of work easier as well.
What sort of line of work are you in?
Well, depends on who you ask, but primarily I gather information.
Information. Got a couple in our group who are very happy to have that kind of stuff. I'm more of the punch things and ask questions later.
Yes, I've noticed. It's very apparent.
like cuts to Nogs all lifting and punching a punching bag in the corner.
Regardless, I think you and I can be of use to each other because I think everybody can win if we work together. If you follow me.
What kind of assurance can you give me that I can believe that you're going to be true to your?
Have you met Nog? Cuts back to him.
I look over and go, he looks capable.
Let's just say that he does not work for me, but he is an associate, and I promise you that my other associates will make sure your life is a little easier too.
Nogs notices that you guys are looking over to him, and he stops punching for a second and just looks over and is
yeah.
I just shake my head. Fucking all right.
He's not bright, but he's kept me safe so far.
For these past 2 days.
Well,
for the past 3 days.
If he can keep you unharmed in a place like this, then that's good enough for now. You'll have to prove yourself a little bit later just to make sure, but I can trust you.
I have to prove myself. Oh, young man, you have no idea what you're getting into.
Young man, excuse me.
It's a woman.
Yeah, he stands by it.
A lady.
He commits.
He stands by it.
The thing about Gideon, he commits to his mistakes.
He doesn't commit.
To a fault.
Whatever. Just whatever. Doesn't matter. Regardless, I may need you to do me a favor, and well, since you can't, I assume your associates will be able to help me.
I can't guarantee it, but I can sure persuade them to give you
All right. Well, answer me this: how much longer do you have in here?
You've got because you were incarcerated with less than 1 wanted level. You're only in here for a couple of weeks. It's not a super harsh sentence.
Yeah.
So probably not much longer. I haven't
Wonderful.
really done it without anger anybody here, so
must be nice. Last time I take the heat from my family. Anyway, so you may ask you to do me a favor and just check back in when you're out there, because there's a certain individual that can really help alter the way that my friends do their business and eventually will work.
sounds promising. I'll make sure to drop your name.
No. This is you don't need to drop names. Just I'm sure you've heard of this man known as Pyrite.
You have.
Have I?
Not yet.
I have not.
Not yet.
You have not?
No.
Well, I'm going to need you to do me a favor and find him. He's going to be exceedingly important that you get a hold of him. How should I put this? He's a linchpin between the two warring factions right now.
Huh. Leverage. Interesting.
And it would be in your best idea to get that information out to your friends and to find him as soon as you can.
In a life-saving matter or a harmful matter or just a wait and see matter?
He laughs a little and just says, "Well, a little of everything. If you don't, you may be hurt. If you don't, some others may be hurt a lot more."
Zako can't do anything if it's a child.
I'm bound by laws if it's a child.
So Sam, we've had multiple extensive discussions about whether or not it's okay for this group to harm children, like in our past few sessions.
I don't think my group ever harmed children.
I don't think you did either.
We were actually all pretty good to children. We actually used them a lot for
use them.
Wow. That was not on the whiteboard. We can't tell them
not
we can use them.
Not in like negative ways, but just like, hey, you can give us information. Hey, make a distraction. Hey, do this, but never harm.
Yeah, you actually did do that a couple of times, huh?
Yeah.
That's
not
good.
for harm.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go with a no.
Yeah.
As long as I can punch somebody, that's all that matters.
You can punch as many people as you'd like, as long as you don't punch Pyrite. Unless he gives you sass. Unless he refuses to cooperate, then you are allowed to punch him.
I like these terms.
I wish I had someone like you in my group. We don't have very many punchy people. It's actually kind of unfortunate.
Yeah.
Though my wife does like shooting, and that's sometimes not the best.
Huh. We've got some sharp shots in our family.
Which is the perfect transition. So
as the screen goes billowy.
It worked out very well. Yeah, you both look wistfully toward the camera as we fade into like a dream state.
You get that like cheesy fade like white screen.
Exactly. Yeah. It star wipes.
Yeah.
The most effective wipe.
So we fade to another scene, and the filter on this shot is actually like pretty washed out. It looks like very like almost looks like old-timey footage. It's not full on black and white. It's just like, like not, you could tell that we're not necessarily in like the current timeline, like the current year, and we see a cloaked figure we see Ironhook Prison again. The kind of like the same establishing shot that we got from the start of Year C Eka, and we see a lot of the shots of you going in, getting processed, getting stripped, getting a prison uniform, getting a number, and instead of being brought to a cell, you're brought to a interrogation room, and the camera pans up as you're cuffed to the table, or cuffed to the chair that you're at, and the face we pan up and we see a young crow. And you are in this interrogation room, and you're left alone for a while. You don't know how long. There's no clocks or anything, so you have no real bearing on a sense of time, and everything that has happened up until this point for you, Crow, has just kind of been a blur. Like, it's just like everything just moved very quickly, and this is kind of your first moment that you've had to like stop and like have a second to yourself. And we see you kind of like looking down at the table. There's nothing on the table. There's just nothing else in the room. There's like a small electroplasm lantern like hanging from the ceiling, and the door opens and closes, and we see a figure come in, and we can't see their face. They're like, we see their uniform. They're in a sentinel's uniform, which is like the guard, the royal guard, essentially. And we don't see their face because they're obscured by the shadow. And we hear your real name's Mordecai, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And we hear her say, Mordecai, Mordecai, Mordecai. Here you are. What did I tell you?
I'm not speaking to you.
Oh, but I'm afraid you might have to, my friend. It's been some time. How are you doing?
I am doing fuck, and I'm doing you. So, fuck you.
There's like a low chuckle. She says, well, I'm afraid that attitude is not going to get you far in here, Mordecai. You're going to have to talk, and you're going to have to talk soon if you want to get out of here with any shred of dignity or your life. Or
I spit at her, and then I blow her a kiss.
You try to, but you remember you're cuffed to the thing.
Yep, I spit in her general direction, and then I blow her a kiss, and I wink at her.
Okay. Yeah, and we see that, and the camera kind of like pans up. She steps forward, almost like accepting your challenge, and we see the face, and I don't think we've seen like her face not through a helmet yet. We see Celine. Do you have an idea of what Celine looks like, or do you want me to go?
You can go for it. I had some ideas, but nothing concrete.
Okay. Yeah, so we see this woman's face. She's got a very like thin, angular face. And she's got like dark kind of like hazel eyes, somewhere between hazel and brown. And she's got straight short-cut silver hair. And she's wearing the Sentinel's uniform, which is like, has like the Imperial crest and all that, and she's got a saber at her hip, and on her other hip is a holster with a pistol. And she says, if you're not going to talk to me, then I'm going to have to get the interrogators in here and the Inquisitors, and you're going to talk to them. So you could talk to me and we could do this the easy way, or you can talk to them, and I make no qualms about how that's going to go for you.
You're still mad because I look better in the Sentinel outfit than you do.
What's that?
She gives you a wry smile, and you get the sense that she's like savoring every moment of this. It's giving her like some sick sense of satisfaction to see you.
She's rock hard right now.
yeah. Her lady boner is gigantic.
There's just trails of drippage where she goes.
Yikes.
Wow.
That went places.
That's a phrase.
That is indeed a phrase.
It's the hashtag for this episode.
Yikes. She says, very well, then you won't tell me the name of your contact or who you were in the process of hunting or who you were working with.
I will make you a deal.
Oh, I'm listening.
Do you want a deal?
Oh, I'm
tell you.
So excited to hear about it.
I will tell you everything you want to know as soon as you can have a child. So I also imagine in the background for Celine that she's completely fucking barren and hates herself for it.
Okay. Her face goes from this like wry kind of like enjoying her like enjoying the moment to like it kind of like straightens and darkens. And she says, very well. I suppose I will have to call in security to deal with you being a hostile prisoner and all. I perhaps will see you again. And I hope that you have a change of heart by then.
Yeah.
She goes to leave. Do you say anything to her before she leaves?
No.
Okay.
Maybe... No, I'm just gonna start whistling like nursery songs.
as you do, you start doing that, and she stops, and she like does like one of those like military turn on her heels thing, and she comes over and she walks towards you, and she just dings you right in the stomach. She just like punches you in the stomach as hard as she can. And
thank you for that impromptu abortion.
Wow.
And she smacks you across the face. Like if we were doing this with like mechanics, you would take 2 harm. But we don't necessarily need to do like anything mechanical for this because we know how this story ends, you and I.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, and she ignores the rest of your taunts, and you like start like if you like sputter and like a little bit of blood comes out. And she just leaves wordlessly.
Yep.
It's so messed up. I love it.
And we cut back to the present.
Gotta love it.
You guys are at like dinner or something in the prison, and yeah, in like the mess hall. And would you beckon or offer to Echo to like sit with you, or are you still kind of like watching from a distance at this point?
At this point, contact's been made, so it's very much like the offer's probably made in advance of like you can sit with me if you'd like, but I'm just going to simply be keeping my guard nearby just in case. And it's literally like Nog and then down at him sitting there, and you know, maybe she's with it. Maybe she's with it. Depends if she wants to.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Echo would probably be within earshot, but not at the same table.
Okay.
Yeah, like edge of like other end of the table kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So
and probably by herself or with people with their at a table
like just
that has
in the crowd.
Yeah, so we get this is the scene transition. Like as you Crow, you like cough blood onto the table, and we get like
what you're doing.
and it cuts into like these like grungy looking mashed potatoes being slapped onto your plate, Echo, or your like your tray. And you go over and
exactly what you're going for.
Yeah. And you go over and you sit down and you like start to like kind of like stir them around, and like you've had this for like this is like probably your second or third night having it. It's not great, but it's food. You know, it's like it's prison food.
I'm poking and prodding at it, not really eating much of it, but I'm you know, getting sustenance.
And the shot kind of zooms out, and like we see you go out of focus, and it does that thing where as you go out of focus, Gideon, you go into focus.
Yep.
Notably, you have a slightly nicer looking meal.
Yeah, for whatever reason that may actually be.
Yeah. It's because technically you guys were tier 1 when you got arrested the first time. So.
Yep. It's basically Gideon knew enough people to get the slightly better meal.
Yeah, tier is everything in this game.
Tier's everything.
And Nogs is sitting with you, and he's got like the mashed potatoes slop. And he's like, hey boss, can I have a piece of broccoli?
Can I have something healthy for once?
It's like, aren't you used to eating this kind of food though? Isn't that what your gang eats or your friends eat?
Well, I mean, yeah, but I don't know, man.
So then, why would you want something as awful for you as broccoli? Look at how large you've grown, given without vegetables. God forbid anybody actually feeds you healthy things. You're gonna be a monster.
God, I miss Gideon so much.
Don't eat your vegetables. They won't grow up big and strong.
And he's like, okay, I just wanted a piece of broccoli.
All right, I'll tell you what. Will you stop calling me boss?
Yeah, boss.
And he there's like a moment, and then he just goes back to eating his potato.
Yes.
That's what I thought.
Priorities.
That's what I thought. I'll make sure your actual boss knows. But yeah, and just continues eating.
Yeah, and you as you're eating, you notice a you notice a small gathering of people. This is like the kind of thing that normally Gideon you would roll for, but because you're in essentially NPC.
I can
mode.
actually if you give me 3 seconds, I can get just a bunch of d6s and yell a number at you.
Sure.
That's you.
No, it's
You need 2 seconds.
I mean I wanna let you roll dice if that's what you want to do. You know, that's what we're technically what we're here for, even though no dice have been rolled yet.
No,
Dice prior to the game saying
We've
how
got-
good we were doing.
We've got a lot of narrative stuff going on, so
God, what did she do?
Sexy dice bag.
yep. Good old real life dice. What a time.
And custom made bags though.
Nice.
All my dice are still in the car from D&D.
How
Hell.
many do I need? What am I? I don't know. I'm just gonna throw like 2 or 3.
Just throw throw 2d6.
2d6 says 2 5s.
All right. So, you notice, so because it's not a 6, we'll say that you notice this, but it's you notice it too late for you to completely preempt it.
Yep.
There was like a group of people kind of like sitting, a couple tables away, kind of talking and, like kind of like, you know, in like low whispers to each other, like kind of like leaning in, like, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And you clocked them a little while ago, but you like you haven't seen anything. And one of them gets up and starts walking away. And as they do, you look over and you see one of them like brings their hand up to like take a bite of food, and their sleeve rolls down a little, and you see that there's the lampblack symbol tattooed on them. And you clock that this person who got up is moving towards Echo. Echo, someone comes up behind you and is going to attempt to do a violence at you. What do you do?
Do I notice
I do
this
the
person?
violent.
Yeah, you like notice it like last minute that like there's like someone coming up behind you.
So I was kind of thinking, like, I had a feeling something like this was going to happen not just one, but multiple. But I kind of want to go into, like, Sherlock Holmes, like, stop motion, like, thinking about the thing that's about to happen.
Yeah.
Like, I've already been in my mind this whole time just waiting for somebody to attack me. So I know something's going to happen.
Yeah, knowing Echo, you've just been waiting for someone to fight you this whole time. Like, you've just been waiting for someone to throw a punch.
So, what I want to do is, if the person does do a violence at me, I want to, like, kick my back leg out and, like, try and trip the person, so that way I've got advantage over them once they're.
Okay. What skill would you like to use? What would you like to roll? Dice.
Dice throws.
Would that be a finesse or skirmish? I mean, they're both the same, but
Either or.
It was probably either or. Yeah.
I guess misdirection would count for. So I'll use finesse.
Yeah. Trying to like very subtly.
This is.
We're risky. Risky standard. Yeah.
I remember right. Gideon at this point doesn't have. Gideon didn't go through that yet. So okay.
Okay. So you managed to. What does this look like?
Oh, nice! I didn't even see my roll yet.
You got.
So I kind of picture it as I like hear the person come up behind me. I know that I've been on edge the whole time, and I kind of like slide my tray forward in front of me. And when I'm doing that, my back leg leans back, hits them like square in the kneecap, and like just drops them to their knee.
Okay. Yeah, so you like punch this dude's knee out, and like he starts to stand up, and as that happens, like the two other guys like get up. There's just that was the sound of the Foley work of them dropping their meal trays.
Exactly.
Good Foley work there, Sam.
What I do.
And they get up and they start running towards you as well. Gideon, would you or Nogs like to do anything?
Gideon's not even going to look away from his food, and he's just going to just in the middle of a bite, just Nogs, be a dear and take care of that, would you? I really just can't be bothered, and I'll take my 3 dice in command.
Okay.
For that.
Sure.
1, 5, and 4.
Okay. Yeah. So Nogs was like already kind of clocking that this was going to be how this happened, because like this ain't Nogs' first prison brawl.
Yeah, Nogs has done this.
Yeah. And so like he's already like kind of like off his feet, and like as the two of them are heading over, we get like the shot of like them running like kind of from the side, and one of them just gets clotheslined to the ground, and he just like he like cracks his head, and the camera pans up, and we see Nogs with his arm out just saying, "Hey, not so fast there, pal."
So running.
And then what would you like to do next? You've got the guy is getting back up, he's starting to go at you, and there's another one on his way there.
How close is the other guy? Like close enough within like not quite arm's range, but can I throw something?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Okay. I want to take my food tray in one hand and grab some of the mashed potatoes and throw the mashed potatoes at the guy that's on his way, like trying to blind him with the mashed potatoes, and then take the tray and smack the one that I've already knocked. Okay.
That sounds like that sounds like 2 rolls to me.
One for distract first, I guess.
Yeah, so you could do like a finesse or like a hunt, because it's a ranged attack technically.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do finesse because I have nothing.
Sure.
That's fair.
Still risky.
I would say that this is desperate.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
No. Fail some rolls and then we'll talk. Stop getting. I mean, it's not going to be desperate if you keep rolling 6s.
I know. Stop doing well.
So.
Stop being calm.
So you chuck it in the guy's face, and he's like, oh, and it's like we get like this. Yeah, it's like the slow motion of it hitting him in the face. It's just like, yeah. And then you want to whip the tray around and smack the other guy.
Yeah, the big old metal tray to like clock the guy in the head.
It sounds like you want to skirmish this guy.
I sure do.
This is some straight
skirmish
shit right
or wreck, but I'm gonna go with skirmish.
Yeah. Wreck is when you're like breaking down a door.
Yeah. Wreck is more objects, less people.
Sure.
Oh my god! I am Sherlock Holmes. What is this?
So last week when we didn't have you, it was horrible.
Yeah, last week nobody could roll over 3 last week. It was really funny.
I know. I saw the whole everything falls apart when Tez is here, and I'm like, we're screwed.
Yeah, you are the glue that binds the group together. I
throw the mashed potatoes. His face gets all squiggly and gross, and he's trying to dig it out of his eyes. And then while that guy's distracted, I just take the tray and whack him upside.
Yeah, and I think that guy like goes down. He's just like flat out. He's just like out. And like we get like this, like the music is like really intense, and like we see like Nogs, he like turns around to like go to help, and the guy gets up and he like jumps on Nogs's back and tries to like, he's trying to like choke him out, but he's like literally like
he's like half the size.
He's like half Nog size, and he's like up on his back, and he's like oh, hey, I thought I knocked you. No, oh, okay. And he like grabs him by the scruff and just like flips him down like right onto his back, and we hear kind of a sick cracking sound, and like as the music's kind of like getting intense, and then we cut over to like the score cuts out and we see Gideon just eating. What would you like to do, Gideon?
He's going to, realizing that like it's not quite over yet, he's going to just put the fork down, take a big breath, stand on up, and he just stands up, looks over at Nogs, and says, Nogs, put an end to this, dear. Would you kindly just put an end to this? It's disturbing my dinner.
I thought you were gonna start like a prison like fight.
Oh no, I was gonna try and de-escalate it too, but
Not yet. No. Gideon doesn't care. Gideon's here. He feels he's got Nogs. He feels he's safe, so he's just gonna do that. 3, 4, 5.
Right. Then the spider in the back said, "Everyone attack," and it turned into a lunchroom blitz. No. Okay.
Nope.
All right. So what did you do? Or what'd you roll?
I'm gonna command Nogs to just literally just squash this right now and just end this. This is annoying. I'm in prison. Why in the hell are people trying to riot and start fights?
Echo's more in reactive mode at this point. She just wanted to stop the guy who was attacking her.
Mhm.
And
Oh no, that's fine. But
yeah,
Gideon
she
just does
was,
not
like,
take with this
waiting
crap.
for something to happen.
Yeah. So you tell him to squish the guy that he just
Yeah, it's just
you're just like,
finish this.
and he like looks. He's like, "Are you sure about like I don't want to like get stuck in here for life or nothing."
You're not. Just don't know. You don't kill him. You simply squish him so much that he's not going to be able to be. He's going to be detained. Literally, just that's fine.
It's like, all right. And he just like looks out. He's like, "Sorry, bud." And he just like clocks him, and he just like, ugh.
Mongo punch.
See, Nogs, that is what we call self-defense. All you were doing was defending yourself against the potential riot. If anything, you'll get out on good behavior.
Behavior, which of course, which is like the perfect time to cut over to Echo.
I'm sitting there holding the tray in both hands, just waiting for something else to happen.
Yeah, right now there's like the dude with potatoes in his face, and there's the guy that you knocked out with the tray on the ground, and like everyone else in the room is like looking over and like watching, and they're just like, is it go time? Are we going? Are we doing this?
Anybody?
I basically give the whole room kind of like an evil stare, like, don't fuck with me.
Yeah, and Gideon will just immediately go, would anybody else like to try anything?
And then I sit back down, and the messy table with all the food that's been splattered, I like grab a fork or whatever and just start eating.
Well, so let's make a roll real quick. So, Gideon, why don't you make either like a sway or a command or something to like de-escalate this, and then like take +1 because it sounds like Echo is helping you.
Yeah. I'll take I know my command's at least 3, so I'll take the +1 die on that.
Yeah.
6, 3, 1, and 6. That's a crit.
So it's a crit.
That's a crit.
So yeah, so you say like, does anybody else want to try? And like the camera pans over to Echo, like giving everyone the death stares, and like holding the tray, which has like a little bit of blood on the end of it.
Yeah.
Mashed potatoes and blood dripping from it.
Yeah. And it cuts to like Nogs, who's just kind of like there, like looking intimidating. Like I think actually it pans over to Nogs, and Nogs like kind of like makes this like, oh, everyone's looking at me, like kind of face, and he just like cracks his knuckles.
He puts on his serious face.
Yeah, he's like, oh, everyone's looking at me. He cracks his knuckles, and it pans over to like all the guys who are like, are we fighting? Is it a fight? Let's fight. I want to fight. And like they look over, and then they just kind of sit back down. Yeah.
Nice.
Thank you.
And the scene kind of fades on that, like you go to we see like Echo, you like take a spoonful that like spilled off onto the floor, and you like go to eat it, and the scene transitions there to Crow, you in this same mess hall, but like in the like weird flashback thing. And you have the same kind of slop, and we see you like take a bite of it. So it's like as the bite is happening, it transitions from one to the other, because cinematography is cool, y'all. And we see you kind of like sitting. Are you sitting by yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're sitting by yourself, and we see you, and you're just kind of beat to shit. You've got like a fat lip and a black eye, and like we can see through your prison uniform that you've got like some amount of bandages on your like torso, and we see like there are like cuts on your arm, and we see like there are like blood stains on different parts of your jumper.
Like the hand that is bringing the spoon up to my lips is like shaking.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
I'm trying to be as still as possible and staring ahead, but that hand like isn't still at all.
Right. Yeah. So we see that, and you are sitting there like trying to eat the slop, and you hear from behind you, do you need any help with that? And we like look over, and we see Celine again in her same kind of like costume, and she like her uniform, and she like sits down across from you and just kind of like steeples her hands in front of her, like very like upright and proper, and is just kind of like staring at you.
Okay. I'm gonna put my shaky hand back down. I'm gonna take a deep breath, and I'm gonna look at her. Hush, little baby, don't you cry.
She says, I was really hoping that we could put all this behind us and talk like human beings again.
Mama's gonna sing you a lullaby.
I've got very little patience left for this whole debacle, and I would really appreciate it if we could just get through this and move on.
What does moving on involve?
You telling me, giving me all of the information that I've asked of you, and doing your time like a good little prisoner, like the good criminal that you are.
Are you pregnant yet?
Ooh, dig right in there.
You're silent.
right in there. Stick that fork in
We
there.
still have no deal. I'm gonna take the shaky hand back up to my mouth and take another bite.
She says, I'm really doing everything that I can here to be cordial and be a reasonable person. I was hoping that you would respect me enough to do the same.
I'm gonna take the tray and try to smack her.
Okay. Roll a... What are you gonna roll?
I got nothing in skirmish, but I imagine this would be a skirmish unless I can justify... Oh, no, prowl. Ambush with close violence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's an ambush because she like knows that you're there.
It just...
Prowl is like if you were like if you were like hidden from someone, like coming up behind them, kind of thing.
Then let's click out of that.
It's actually kind of like, it's kind of cool if it's a skirmish, because like, you know, like pass or fail the roll, like we like I said, you and I know the trajectory of like where this arc is going.
Yeah,
so, like,
I just imagine like regardless, like if he gets it, cool, it furthers the story. If he doesn't, he's beat to shit. There's a reason why he didn't get it.
Exactly. That's what it's about. Yeah.
Risky or desperate?
This is risky. Limited effect. And you have reduced effect because you have like mechanically you have like level 2 harm right now.
Yeah.
Because boy howdy have they not like patched you up. Nice. So
yeah.
So you get a 2. So you wanted to try to like hit her with the thing, or were you just trying to like throw food at her?
Is she right next to me?
She's
sit down next to me?
No, she's across from you. Like across the table.
Then I'm gonna try to stand up, grab the tray, swipe at her face. That's the move I'm trying to do.
Okay. Yeah, and so you do, and it like very much echoes the cinematography of the last scene with Echo. Where Echo like clocked this dude and knocked him out. But like you go to do it, and she just like very calmly and like without like flinching or moving a muscle, just kind of like backs up slightly,
It pulls
and
back on
it just whiffs, and we see like the potatoes go flying off to the side.
Yeah.
And we like the camera kind of like pans back over to her and like zooms down, and there's like a small little bit of potato on her uniform.
Yeah, I'm like, that was the last of my fucking energy. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like half falling over this table now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she without saying anything gets up and starts walking around the table back over to your side. And again, like you said, you like don't have that much. You like are like trying. It's like all you can take to like not just collapse at this point. And she comes down, and she kind of like bends over and she whispers into your ear, and she says, "I just want you to know that I want it to be known that I've done everything I could to try to make peace with you." And she sweeps your leg out and like pushes you, and you fall like flat onto your face on the concrete. And she starts to walk away, and she says, "I'm afraid we've got another hostile inmate over here. You may want to look into." And the security like start walking towards you.
The ground is nice and cool and comfortable right now.
This ground is relaxing.
Yeah.
And
Where you've thrown all your vitriol into it, you just have nothing left.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And you
Is that mockingbird so
and
say?
You sing
and
yourself.
as you're
Yeah.
and as you're
Yeah.
singing that like it's that, and then like we kind of like cut it into the score of the end of the scene, and we like put a bunch of like reverb on it, and it sounds like really cool and like and echoey, and as it is, we like see you kind of like doing that. We see her walking away, and we see these two security guards like with their like billy clubs kind of like, you know, hold like ready, and we see them like lift it up, and it cuts, and we hear we hear like a nice wet thwap, and we cut back over.
There you go.
And we the next time we cut over to you, Crow, you're gonna have level 3 harm, just so you know.
Got it.
Which is
Yep.
like on the brink of death. Like level
Yeah,
4
you're near death.
level 4 harm is you die. So
Yep.
yeah, so you'll have like, it's like minus a die to every roll, and like reduced effect, all sorts of bad. It's like a lot of bad stuff.
It's a lot of sadness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we cut back over, and I'll let Gideon and Echo, I'll let you guys kind of like set this scene, if you like, if we think of it. You're gonna be out tomorrow.
Okay.
It's been like a couple of weeks, and you're like,
just curious, how did the two guys that I took out look? Were they like broken to the point where they needed to go to the infirmary, or just shake?
Oh, they're probably not moving much. They're probably
like the guy that Nogs knocked out, and the guy that you knocked out with the tray, like probably needed to go to like the infirmary ward or something like that.
But the mashed potato guy is just like,
yeah, he just got
He's still out there. He's still at large.
he's just angry.
right. And he like Gideon, you managed to like pull some strings, and like we probably see you like talking to some guards and kind of like paying, like maybe like even like slipping some money to essentially like brush this under the table.
Yeah.
And
it's like, yeah, it's very much like this was the first day for her.
Mhm.
You know, she clearly doesn't understand how this works. Just make sure she doesn't get any punishment for it.
And so actually, before we do this scene, we're gonna do the mechanical bits of prison, because there's prison mechanics. So we're gonna have you, Echo, make an incarceration roll.
Okay.
So this is essentially a fortune roll, and I'm gonna tell you all of the results. And basically, it's how did your time in prison affect you? So if you get a 1 to 3, Well, do you want to know the best parts first or the worst parts first?
Yeah.
I'll let you choose.
I want to know the worst parts first.
Okay. If you get a 1 to 3, then it's horrific and you get another level of trauma.
Yep.
Yeah.
Love it.
Actually, that kind of works for me.
Right?
It's the best.
On a 4 to 5, you keep your head down and you do your time without incident. And on a 6, you do your time well. Your crew gains a prison claim and +1 faction status with a faction that you assisted while you served time.
All right.
And then on a crit, you get a whole bunch of other stuff, but it's going to be impossible for you to crit this roll. Because normally, to make this roll, you roll your tier. Oh, Sam froze. That was an interesting picture.
I saw that happen.
Yeah. You roll a d6 for each tier level that you are. As a tier 0 PC, that means that you would roll 2 die and take the lowest. However, because your new friend, Mr. Gideon Silverin, has been here and helping you and pulling the strings. Gideon, I'm gonna have you make a roll actually, and based on how well you do on this roll will be how big of a bonus Echo gets to her incarceration roll. So I think this is. I know normally we call this a like you tell me what skill, but I think this is just a consort roll.
Yeah.
Just like consorting and kind of like wheeling and dealing and like how easy were you able to make all of
her way out?
Yeah.
What is my consort? Is it a 2 or a 3?
I don't remember. We'll call it a 3.
I think it was my highest, right? So it had to be a 3.
I'm pretty sure it was your highest, yeah. Because this is like your shit as a spider.
This is literally what I do.
Yeah.
So
it had to.
Survey says 6, 1, and a 2.
All right. So instead of rolling at disadvantage, we'll bump that up by 2. So actually, you could technically crit this roll. So we'll bump it up from disadvantage to 1 die to 2 die. If he had gotten anything less than a 6, it would have bumped up to 1 die. So you can instead roll 2d6 to see how you do in prison.
Okay.
Godspeed.
Yeah. Let's see how it goes. All right, you got a 6. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Very
Good
cool.
luck.
How did I do
home.
in prison? Yeah. So a combination of you just like naturally kind of like lending yourself well to this like whole jam of being alone and being able to take care of yourself and defend yourself and all of that, combined with we probably get like a little montage of like these little vignettes, Gideon, of you like helping, like paying off guards and like talking to different people and like as people were like
Nog helping out, like pointing to Nog.
Yeah, exactly. Like Nog's.
I like the thought of like Echo's doing shit and Gideon's not doing fucking anything, but the song is still, hey, let's tell you about my best friend.
Yep. That's exactly.
No interaction whatsoever, but
None.
working together as a team.
Yeah.
Minimal
100%.
communication.
Yeah.
He's literally just kind of like watchdogging her, and it's playing that in the background.
Yeah, and it's probably like it's probably because Echo, I feel like you probably don't even notice it most of the time because
she doesn't care. She doesn't know at all.
Yeah,
because
like pulling the strings on the side and like making things go a certain way and being certain about things going a certain way is like Gideon's jam. And so you get +1 faction status with a faction of your choice, which we can talk about another time if you like.
Yeah,
always a good advantage.
And you get a prison claim, which will make it easier the next time you guys get into prison.
Oh my god, that's right. Yeah.
So prison claims are essentially tier, like think like crew upgrades, but for
It's like
being
prison
in prison.
tier.
So you've been in before. You know the dudes to talk to who can acquire things.
Yeah. So like you can like be in charge of like a cell block. You can have a guard payoff. You can like have access to smuggling people. You can have a parole officer. Yeah, there's like literally a whole mini faction game into being in prison.
That turned out nice then.
Yeah.
There you go.
So it's your last time. It's your last like day or night or whatever. Gideon, do you go to Echo and talk to her or say anything to her before she is out of the slammer?
Just on the last way out, it's just you survived pretty well in here. I'll give it that. But do me that favor and find Pyrite. He'll hold the key to making sure that the Lampblacks fall.
All right.
And with that, I'm actually going to bolt off, Steve. So I will check you later. Thank you all.
All right.
Thanks for playing.
Pleasure as always.
Thanks, Sam.
Pleasure's all.
Yeah,
All right.
Echo just
It's the overlay's broken. There we go.
Yeah, Echo just kind of repeats back to him in just short, simple words.
Mhm.
Pyrite, Gideon, Lampblacks.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. And as you're going, you turn around, you see Nogs, and he's just like, hey, it was good to lift weights with you.
I give him one of the, like, I don't say anything, but I give him like an approving nod, and then I just
Like a bro
shake
nod.
my head. Yeah.
Excellent.
I like it. That's cute.
Nice. Yeah, and you
Maybe in the future she'll warm up to him, but maybe not.
he just
That's. I could see like a slow burn.
he just wants to be loved and bossed around.
Ooh.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so we see you start to like finish packing up your stuff and getting ready to be processed for your release. And then we cut over cuz Crow, your time in prison didn't end quite so well. Yeah.
No.
And so we cut to a time in and again we get that like kind of like flashbacky filter, and it is like the dead of night. It's always night. It's always like nighttime in Duskwall, but it's like there's no moon out, so it's like actually like super dark. And it's raining, and it's like thunderstorming. You are out in the courtyard. No one else is there. You're soaked. You're like beaten and bloody. You have level 3 harm because like you've been like beat to shit, and no one has like helped you. No one's like sent you to the medical wing or anything. If anyone,
I imagine I'm breathing and it's like crackly and
like raspy and like gurgly almost.
Yeah.
And you're out in the courtyard, and you're being held up by like two like prison guards, who are just like the only reason you're on your feet right now. And a figure approaches in a dark cloak. And again, like you can hear like the mud squish, like kind of like squishing under their boots, and like you've got a pretty good idea as like the hooded figure approaches you, and you realize, and your suspicions are confirmed that of course it's Celine. And she says, inmate, I'm afraid that you haven't done your time so well. You've been a very uncooperative prisoner, and I hear from my friends that you have been doing a bad job of cooperating and following the rules here. I
don't say anything. I just start coughing, like violently coughing.
Yeah. She says, I'm going to give you one more chance to say anything, do anything, what what have you. It doesn't have to end this way. I really don't. You have to understand, Mordecai. I don't want it to end this way. I would much rather just let bygones be bygones, get the information I need out of you, and then never have to see you again.
You could have just let me go that day.
You and I both know that I could not do that.
You could have. You could have looked the other way.
That's not how this works. That's not how the Sentinels work. We are duty bound to uphold the law and protect our interests and the interests of our imperial lords. And then when I see someone, especially someone who has taken the same oath that I have, blatantly and flagrantly disobeying that oath, that same oath, I could not stand idly by.
I just start laughing, coughing, trying to laugh, but it's just my every breath pushes out cracked ribs and coughing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And I'm just gonna say you could have 2 guards hold you up if you can't stand.
There's
because I can't fucking stand right now.
Right. There's a beat where there's just silence except for your laughter and the sound of the rain. And there's a thunderclap. And I'll ask you, how does Celine kill you?
So I had imagined that whether it was gunshots or knife wounds or something, that she would just keep stabbing or keep shooting until she got directly to my heart. So non-lethal, 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 and then final one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she says I so wish that it would have gone a different way, and she pulls the pistol out from her hip and she levels it at your chest.
Anime style.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's super. And there's the rain. The rain is glinting off. Yeah. And there's a thunder crack, and with the thunder crack, there's mixed into the thunder crack the sound of a gunshot. And we see your chest smoking, and you cough up a bunch of blood.
Yeah.
And she says, "Last chance, Mordecai."
I'm in a fuck ton of pain.
Yeah.
I'm just rattling. I'm trying to pull my arms to protect myself, but I can't get them the fuck away from the guards.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just clenching my teeth, and there's blood, and it fucking hurts. And I'm just gonna look at her with so much anger, and I'm like, "You have to tell me."
And
you have to tell me.
And before you have a chance to finish your thought, there's another crack of thunder and another gunshot.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, "What do I have to tell you, Mordecai? What do I owe you?"
Their names. What you were gonna name them.
And there's one more crack and another shot, and that crack is the last thing that you hear, and
okay.
The gun is the last thing that you see.
Yep.
I think I know where this is going.
The gun barrel, we see the smoking barrel, and it kind of the camera kind of shifts, so we see Celine. We can't see her face; it's obscured by the hood. And she takes the gun and puts it back under her cloak. And we see a lightning flash, and we see her eyes cold and blank and staring. And she says, "Dump the body out in the sewers. Make sure that no one sees him." And the guards just kind of nod, and she turns and starts walking away. And a thing that like astute people like people who have been like either watching the show or like we realize the bells don't chime, which is like, you know, that's like a weird thing. The bells don't chime. And the next thing we see is like your body just kind of getting thrown out down like a ravine that is like out on the other side, near like a sewage pipe that kind of like feeds out into the canals on the outside. So it's like if we look at the map here, like here's like Ironhook Prison, and you're probably like dumped out like somewhere around here where there's like a drainage pipe that goes out into this river. Okay. And you're just like face down in the mud and like the muck and the grime, and like we can barely even make out that you're there, and it's just raining and thundering and like everything, and we see a single Deathseeker crow fly out and land on you, and that's where the episode cuts.
That was epic.
There's all that angst. There you go.
You're gonna have to fucking kill me.
Oh my god.
And good night.
Oh my god. I've been thinking of like that, like playing with that idea about Celine for like so long, and I'm so happy with how it turned out. Like fucking yes, Spike, for playing her. Like yes.
I'm glad that worked out well. So that's our episode. We're about a half hour short of what we normally do, but I think that's fine. Join us next week, where, as far as I know, we'll have everyone back, and Marissa won't be sick, and Eric won't be in Tech Week for his show.
There we go.
I'm pretty sure I don't have family stuff going on, so yes, I will be there.
Hell yeah.
What day is next Monday?
I don't even know what tomorrow is.
You're asking about the future.
It's the 10th. It's the 10th. I looked on my real life calendar that I have in my computer. It's the 10th.
Sweet.
Yeah, and then we'll do the score. And now, Eka, you have a little bit of information to share with your friends when you get it.
You're prison hardened.
Yeah.
It's nothing.
So
come out with some sweet cats.
Things went surprisingly well. Like, I don't know how. Like, I'm just amazing, I guess.
Yeah.
It's. I mean, like, you rolled really well, and like you did, like, that was kind of like my point with bringing in Gideon, like, because so like this canonically happens like around the time that in the first campaign Gideon goes to prison. I'm sure you figured this out, but Gideon was Sam's character from our first campaign, who ran the inn that you were at when you met Sawtooth. Yes. Anyways, thanks everyone. If you're watching on Twitch, thank you. If you're watching on YouTube, also thank you.
Subscribe to The Frog is Dead on YouTube.
Yeah, do that. There's actually a bunch of stuff on the YouTube. I like have a bunch of like straight to YouTube stuff on there. There's
not just Blades in the Dark. There's a whole bunch of fun stuff.
There's a special second episode of Chair Talk, my one-time only limited print run Game of Thrones podcast, where I talked with our Eric about it, which so now Chair Talk is officially branded as a one-time only Game of Thrones podcast where I talk about Game of Thrones with my friends who are all named Eric.
There you go.
I've cornered the market on Eric-based content here on YouTube. And so we'll do that. The next thing that will be on this channel is I think we're gonna try to do Jackbox tomorrow.
Nice.
So that sounds like fun.
We're gonna see about maybe doing that. If not, it'll probably be the Tuesday after that. We'll figure it out. And we will see you guys for more Blades in the Dark. All of the friend murdering action you can handle.
Not kids.
Not kids. Not kids. But I may kill Simone again. You never know if she rolls really poorly.
Yeah. How sweet that second death is.
The second one's nothing after the first. You're fine.
I know.
All right, Edgar.
I did the first one for love. I did the second one for money. They both fucked up.
We shall see you next time. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, Internet.